Friday the 31st of March, 1944. Just imagine. It's still cold, but most people have had nothing to put on their fires for a month now. It sounds awful, doesn't it? But we are hopeful about the Russians, who are doing well. They've reached Poland now, and the Prut River in Romania. They're close to Odessa, too. The German army has invaded Hungary. 1 million Jews still live there. There is no hope for them now. Nothing special is happening here. Today is Mr. Van Daan's birthday. He received several presents and a cake. The cake wasn't perfect, because we can't buy the right things to make it with, but it tasted wonderful anyway. People are not saying so much about Peter and me now. We're very good friends. We spend a lot of time together, and we talk about anything and everything. I couldn't talk to other boys like this. We even talked about periods. He thinks that women are strong enough to lose the blood, and that I am too. I wonder why he thinks that. My life here is better now. Much better. God has not left me, and he never will. Monday, the 3rd of April, 1944. I'm going to describe our food rations. Food is a difficult and important problem, not only for us in the annex, but for everyone in Holland, all of Europe, and even further away. We've lived here for 21 months, and often at any one time there was only one kind of food to eat. For example, one kind of vegetable or salad. We would eat it with potatoes, in every possible way that we could think of. But now there are no vegetables at all. We have potatoes and brown beans. We make soup. We still have some packets and stores to make dishes, which are a little bit more interesting. But it's beans with everything, even in the bread. The most exciting moment is when we eat a thin piece of sausage once a week, and put some jam on our bread. No butter, of course. But we're still alive, and much of the time the food tastes good too. Wednesday, the 5th of April, 1944. For a long time now, I haven't really been interested in my schoolwork. The end of the war still seemed so far away, and if it isn't over by September, I won't go back to school, since I don't want to be 2 years behind. Peter filled my days, nothing but Peter, nothing but dreams and thoughts, until Saturday night when I felt terrible. I sat on the floor in my nightdress and said my prayers. Then I just lay down on the floor and cried. But I knew I had to fight against it, and finally, when I climbed back into bed at 10 o'clock, the suffering was over. And now it's really over. I've realized that I must do my schoolwork. I want to make something of my life. I want to be a journalist. I know I can write. A few of my stories are good. A lot of my diary is alive and amusing, but I don't know yet if I can be a really good writer. But then if I can't write books or for newspapers, I can always write for myself. I don't want to live like Mother, Mrs. Van Daan, and all the other women who simply do their work and are then forgotten. I need more than just a husband and children. I want to be useful and to bring enjoyment to all people, even those that I've never met. I want to go on living after my death. I'm grateful to God for my writing, so I'll go on trying, and everything will be all right, because I'm not going to give up. Tuesday, the 11th of April, 1944. I don't know where to start. So much has happened. Thursday, when I wrote to you, everything was as usual. Friday and Saturday too. Then on Sunday evening at 9:30, Peter knocked at our door. He asked Father to come upstairs and help him with some English words, but I didn't believe him. "That's strange," I said to Margot. "I think we've got burglars." I was right. They were breaking into the warehouse at that moment. Father, Mr. Van Daan, and Peter went downstairs as quickly as possible. Margot, Mother, Mrs. Van Daan, and I waited. 4 frightened women need to talk, so that's what we did. Then we heard a loud noise, but nobody came back until 10 o'clock. Father looked quite white when he came into us. "Lights out and get upstairs quietly. The police will be here soon." The men went back downstairs, so we still didn't know what had happened. But 10 minutes later they were back. They told us that burglars broke down the warehouse door and that Mr. Van Daan had shouted, "Police!" They tried to put the door back, but the burglars kicked it down again. Then a man and a woman on the street shone a lamp in from the street. We later found out that this was Mr. Van Hoven, the man who brings us potatoes, and his wife. We waited and waited in the dark until after 11 o'clock. Then there was more noise downstairs, and finally someone tried to move the bookcase. We were so frightened. I thought the police were going to take us away. But then the person went away, and the house was quiet. We had to stay quiet all night too, and use a large tin for a toilet. We tried to sleep on the floor. "We should hide the radio," said Mrs. Van Daan. "If they find us, it doesn't matter if they find the radio too," answered Mr. Van Daan. "Then they'll find Anne's diary as well," said my father. "So we should burn it," suggested someone. "Oh, not my diary. If my diary goes, I go too." But fortunately, nothing was done. At 7, we rang Mr. Kleeman, and at last Jan and Miep arrived. They had to go off again to the police to inform them about the burglars. So we had half an hour to tidy up the house and get everything straight. It was an awful, smelly mess. We were in terrible danger that night. Just think, the police were by the bookcase, but they didn't find us. God was truly watching over us. You have saved us. Please save us in the future. That's what our prayer is now. From now on, we must be more careful too. Dussel will do his work in the bathroom, and Peter will walk round the house between 8:30 and 9:30 every evening. Somebody noticed that Peter's window was open, so he must keep it shut now. It has reminded us that we are Jews, and that we must live like prisoners. We must forget our personal feelings and be brave and strong. One day this terrible war will be over. The time will come when we'll be people again, and not just Jews. Who has made us suffer like this? Who has separated us from all the other people? God has made us like this, but God will lift us up again. Perhaps afterwards, if there are any Jews left, our suffering will teach people something. Perhaps they will learn something about goodness, and this is why we have to suffer. We can never be just Dutch or just English. We will always be Jews as well. Be brave. There will be a way out. God has always looked after us. All through history, Jews have had to suffer. But there are still Jews, and the suffering has made us stronger. I thought that I was going to die that night. I waited for death like a soldier. But now that I'm still alive, I want to stay in Holland after the war. I love the Dutch. I love this country. I love the language. I want to work here. If God lets me live, I will do more than Mother ever did. I want my voice to be heard. I'll go out into the world and work for all human beings. Sunday, the 16th of April, 1944. Remember yesterday's date, because it was special for me. When a girl gets her first kiss, it's always an important date. Last night, I was sitting with Peter on his sofa bed, and he soon put his arm around me. I put my arm round him too, and we sat very close. We've sat like this before, but never as close as we were last night. He wanted me to put my head on his shoulder. Then he rested his head on mine. Oh, it was so wonderful. He touched my cheek, my arm, and my hair. At 9:30 we stood up to go. Peter had to check the building. I was standing next to him. I must have made the right movement. I don't know how, because he gave me a kiss. It was a kiss through my hair, half on my left cheek and half on my ear. I ran downstairs and didn't look back. Friday, the 28th of April, 1944. Last night, Peter and I were sitting on the sofa as usual, in each other's arms. Suddenly, the usual Anne disappeared. The confident, noisy Anne. And the second Anne took her place. This second Anne only wants to love and to be gentle. Tears came to my eyes. Did he notice? He made no movement. Did he feel the same way as I did? He said very little. There were no answers to my questions. At 8:30, I stood up and went to the window, where we always say goodbye. I was still Anne number 2. He came over to me, and I threw my arms around his neck and kissed him on his left cheek. I was going to kiss his other cheek too, when my mouth met his, and we kissed each other again and again. Last night was a great shock to my heart. The gentle Anne doesn't appear very often, and she's not going to go away quickly. Oh, Peter, what have you done to me? What do you want from me? But if I was older and he wanted to marry me, what would I say? Anne, be honest. I couldn't marry him. Peter isn't strong enough as a person. He's still a child. Tuesday, the 2nd of May, 1944. On Saturday night, I asked Peter whether I should tell Father about us. He thinks that I should. I was glad. It means that he's sensible. As soon as I came downstairs, I went with Father to get some water. While we were on the stairs, I said, "Father, when Peter and I are together, we don't exactly sit at opposite ends of the room. But you've probably guessed that. Do you think that's wrong?" Father paused for a moment, then answered, "No, I don't think it's wrong. But Anne, when you're living so close together as we do, you have to be careful." Later, on Sunday morning, he said more to me about it. "You must be the one to be careful. It's the man who always wants to go further. In the outside world, it's different. You're free. You see other boys and girls, and you can play sport and do a lot of different things. But here, you see each other every hour of the day. Be careful, Anne, and don't take it too seriously. Father says that I shouldn't go upstairs so often, but I still want to. Yes, I'm going. Wednesday, the 3rd of May, 1944. For the last 2 weeks, we've been eating lunch at 11:30 on Saturdays. From tomorrow, it'll be like that every day. That will be 1 meal less each day. It's still very hard to get vegetables. This afternoon we ate some bad cooked lettuce. Add some bad potatoes, and you have a meal fine enough for a king. I haven't had my period for more than 2 months, but it finally started last Sunday. Although it's a trouble and a mess, I'm glad. You can imagine we often say, "Why are there wars? Why, oh why, can't people live together peacefully?" No one can give a really good answer. Why is England making bigger and better aeroplanes and bombs, and at the same time also building new houses? Why do governments give millions each day for war, when they spend nothing on medicine or poor people? Why must people go without food, when there are mountains of food going bad in other parts of the world? Oh, why are people so crazy? It's not only governments who make war. No, the common man is guilty too. We give our governments the authority to do it. There's something in people that makes them murder and kill. Unless all human beings change, there will still be wars. I'm often sad here, but I still see our life in the secret annex as an adventure. It's dangerous, but exciting. I've decided that I want to live a different kind of life, not like other girls, and that I won't be an ordinary housewife. Living here is an interesting beginning to my life, and that's why I laugh at the amusing side of it, even when it's dangerous. I'm young, and I'm strong, happy, and cheerful. I feel that I'm growing up more every day, and that the end of the war is not far away. Nature is still beautiful, and the people around me are good. Every day, I think what an interesting adventure this is. So why be sad or frightened?